Specific language impairment, known as SLI, is a puzzling condition because it occurs in children who have otherwise normal development. SLI is not associated with intelligence levels. Children with SLI function within the typical developmental range in non-language based areas, such as non-verbal social interaction, play, and self-help skills. A range of oral language characteristics may be affected by SLI. These include the late onset of talking. First words may not commence until 2 years of age or later. Immature or irregular production of phonemes, particularly in preschool children. The use of simplified or irregular grammatical and syntactical structures, such as the omission of past tense endings, incorrect word order, and sentence structure at a level well below age-appropriate standards. Restricted semantic development affecting vocabulary in both production and comprehension, a weak verbal short-term memory, and difficulties in understanding complex language, especially when the speaker talks rapidly. It is important to note that SLI is heterogeneous, so individual cases will differ significantly. Furthermore, characteristics are not static and age-related change is not uncommon. The diagnostic criteria for SLI is that language is significantly below the standard anticipated for age and IQ, generally understood as scoring in the lowest 10% on a standardized test of expressive and/or receptive language. Non-verbal IQ and non-linguistic aspects of development, such as self-help skills and social skills, are placed within typical limits. Language difficulties cannot be explained by hearing loss, physiological irregularities of the speech apparatus, or environmental deficits. Language difficulties are not the result of brain damage. SLI is diagnosed by an accredited speech pathologist who makes an accurate assessment of the individual's skills and outlines recommendations within an individual intervention program. Early identification and intervention are vital in order to foster language and social growth and to provide children with the best possible learning environment. Children with SLI will not learn language the same way as other children through immersion and encouragement. They will need language to be explicitly taught. To learn and develop to their full potential, they will require ongoing support throughout their school years. Research indicates that language ability is a distinguishing feature in the development of literacy, numeracy, and academic competency. Students with SLI, therefore, will have difficulties with literacy and overall academic achievement. Because reading relies upon grammar and syntax, semantics, and phonological skills, and these are the language skills that characteristically students with SLI have difficulty with, students with SLI have a significant risk of having a reading difficulty. Indeed, research indicates that 40 to 75% of students with SLI have difficulties with learning to read. Research suggests that approximately 1 to 3% of children have SLI. During adolescence, the language difficulties of students with SLI are not readily obvious in everyday conversations. However, adolescents with SLI may have difficulty reconciling their desire with their ability to engage in social discourse with their peers. Not being able to understand information or other people or express yourself easily can lead to ridicule, bullying, as well as social isolation and subsequent behaviour problems due to anger and frustration. Research indicates that students with SLI are at a social disadvantage to their peers and participate less in verbal social exchanges, possess poorer conversational skills, and are less likely to show skilled prosocial behaviour. Hence, SLI is a risk factor for poorer friendship development. Research indicates that some teenagers with SLI will experience high levels of anxiety, which can hinder their learning experiences. Therefore, the identification and delivery of support for anxiety in SLI is likely to generate an environment that fosters emotional welfare and positive learning outcomes for students. Addressing the difficulties that students with SLI face means providing a supportive learning environment. Create classrooms with visual support systems to promote understanding. Present information in a variety of ways. undertake professional development to further skills and capabilities, plan lessons that include explicit opportunities to build speaking and listening skills and which differentiate the class, providing challenge at different ability levels. In conjunction with specialist staff, put in place a learning support plan that indicates the accommodations and/or modifications that are required. Helpful websites include Speech Pathology Australia, the New South Wales Centre for Effective Reading, and New South Wales Public Schools. Rally videos can be viewed through YouTube. Peter Westwood has written a series of books for teachers. Gabriella is about to start Year 9 and has an expressive communication disorder that affects her ability to speak, and also her receptive communication skills are considerably weak. She struggles to keep up with work in the classroom and has been allocated a teacher's aide, but this is for only 2 hours per week. She has a small group of supportive friends who have been at school with her since kindergarten, but she is hesitant to develop a wider circle of friends as she is worried others will judge her. She is concerned about presentations and speaking in class, and she struggles to follow the pace of instructions from her teachers. Her parents are concerned about her progress and have called a meeting with the school and say, "Gabriella is not good at telling others what she needs. We want to be sure teachers understand Gabriella's learning needs and ensure her self-esteem doesn't drop any further." The Learning Support Team will meet with Gabriella and her parents to address their concerns. In collaboration with Gabriella, her parents, teachers and speech pathologists, they will review Gabriella's learning support plan, identifying her academic, behavioural and social strengths, weaknesses and interests, and make any changes. This would specify which subjects she enjoyed, her outside school interests, and her personal preferences and desires with regards to her learning support plan. Gabriella has been allocated a teacher's aide for 2 hours each week. The Learning Support Team would negotiate with Gabriella, her parents and teachers the best way to use this time. Gabriella will have difficulty with announcements or instructions given over the loudspeaker. To support her inclusion, monitors will display the same up-to-date information. Furthermore, projector screens will be used in school assemblies to display content and support understanding. Gabriella will commence new Stage 5 electives this year. New teachers will be provided with training and support from the Learning Support Team to assist with teacher competency and inclusive practices. Ongoing teachers will continue to be supported and professional development opportunities sought as required. Gabriella needs support to help her to not fall behind. Organisational support, such as checking homework is written in her diary, regular book checks to make sure that content and organisation is on track, writing lesson instructions on the board or in her book or given as hard copies so that she doesn't have to remember too many things, will help her to keep pace. The struggle to keep up in class, coupled with concerns about being judged by peers, will cause Gabriella anxiety. Because of this anxiety, she may withdraw socially or display inappropriate behaviour. The anxiety will have adverse effects on her learning outcomes. In order to support Gabriella academically, behaviourally and socially, the Learning Support Team need to address her anxiety. Gabriella would have received a full language and literacy assessment in order to determine her current ability level by a qualified speech pathologist. This report will be shared with the parents and the school's Learning Support Team, forming part of the collaborative support plan between the school, family and community. Because she is struggling and experiencing anxiety, Gabriella will see the school counsellor for assessment, monitoring and ongoing training and support, such as resilience building, to help bolster her self-esteem. Teaching strategies. Using clickers in class allows for maximum class participation and takes the pressure off individual verbal responses. Students can respond with peer anonymity. This would increase Gabriella's opportunities for class participation and minimise her anxiety. Using cooperative learning groups would have both academic and social benefits for Gabriella by providing safe, positive, small group experiences that support her overall learning through positive peer interactions and better work product, whilst strengthening her self-esteem by providing the security of a group and assisting her development of social networks beyond her small group of friends. Peer tutoring, with opportunity for additional instruction, practice, and support, would create a positive learning environment for Gabriella, who struggles to keep up in class, by providing one-on-one or small group settings fostering academic and social success. Using a flipped classroom model to deliver concepts through online videos would enable Gabriella to control the pace of the lesson, pausing and rewinding when required, and support her expressive and receptive language difficulties through the use of captions and online posts, minimizing her concerns about speaking in the classroom. Gabriella will need accommodations that account for her expressive and receptive communication difficulties. These include timing accommodations, allowing her additional time for classwork and assessment, presentation accommodations, with the help of the teacher's aid, peers, and technology, teacher delivery accommodations, providing her with visual displays and/or hard copies, and task accommodations, such as alternative assessments and activities. Furthermore, the Learning Support Team will lodge forms for Gabriella to receive special provisions for the NAPLAN tests later in the year. With her accommodations in place, Gabriella is able to access the same stage outcomes as her peers across the curriculum. Therefore, no learning adjustments are required. Resources to support Gabriella's inclusion include visual support systems such as posters, handouts and whiteboards, technology in the form of projector screens and monitors, and personnel such as her teacher's aide, the Learning Support Team and colleagues.